One thing no one ever mentions in an introduction that I just want to get out of the way at the beginning is that it actually took me 5 years to graduate from UW. I was on the FITEMIS 5-year plan, which my parents were not very happy about. But I always told them that anyone who graduates in 4 years has no love of learning. So for those of you who did the 5-year plan, well done. And for those of you who managed to graduate in 4 years, you're one step ahead of me. So as Professor Kleinenbach said, I graduated from here in 2002. I distinctly remember that day 15 years ago, and then I went on to law school at Harvard, and then to work in DC for a number of years, and then back here in Seattle, and now for the last 4.5 years in the Attorney General's office, where I had the honor and the great opportunity to work on our challenge to the President's travel ban. I just want to very briefly talk to you today about 2 lessons I've learned in life that I hope will be at least a tiny bit helpful to you. I don't know if I can top anything that the students said in their quotes. Those were all very, very true, I think, and very powerful. But just 2 things that I thought I'd share briefly. So the first is that you all graduating from UW can hold your own with anyone in the world. And when I was graduating from UW, I thought I was pretty smart, but I thought that out there in the world, there was some super smart group of people who really, I don't know, in DC or New York or Silicon Valley or somewhere, who really were the ones who got to make the big decisions and who should be running things. And we're sort of off in this corner of the country that often gets forgotten in the national media and stuff. We're not some island in the Pacific, but still, we're sometimes being from here or going to school here, you don't know what's going to happen when you go out into the world. And I quickly learned that I was wrong, thinking that that I couldn't be in those places or do those things. And so I first began to realize that when I got to law school at Harvard, and I realized that the students there were not really that much different from the students here, other than that there was a lot of very wealthy backgrounds, a lot of access to opportunities and connections. And certainly a lot of people who had worked very hard, but when those folks went on to high-paying jobs after law school or interesting government positions, it wasn't because they were uniformly the most amazing people in the world. It was primarily because they knew people who were able to help them get those jobs. And when people would come to campus at Harvard to speak, which happened like every day, a member of Congress or a world leader or something, you would meet them in these events, and they weren't really that different from you and me. Some of them were nice, some were not so nice, some were smart, some were not so smart. And my wife actually went to Harvard at the same time she got a graduate degree in a different program that she didn't particularly enjoy. And she used to joke afterwards that she had spent $100,000 to learn that she could be in a room with anyone and hold her own. And my wife, who I met actually in high school here, and then went to UW as well. And so I'm here to save you that $100,000. If you get into Harvard, that's great, and you should spend the money. But still, my point is that what I want you to know, graduating today, is that you can hold your own with anyone in the world. You all. Whatever your field is that you're going into, whether it's medicine or law or music or archaeology or whatever it may be, don't feel like you can't achieve at the highest levels. You definitely can. And if I had any doubts about that before, they were raised by our tiny little AG's office, the team there, the whole team there, taking on the president and winning that case against the army of lawyers at the Department of Justice. So you can hold your own. The only other thing, this other lesson I just want to talk about, and the student quotes today were so powerful, they definitely recognize this already. My parents taught me from a very young age to focus on what we had to be thankful for and not what we didn't have, and to think about how you could use what you had to help other people. And I think you will find, as you go through life, that is an approach that will not only, it will just make you happier. The more you will have a better, more fulfilling life if you're not always thinking about the things you don't have, but about the things that you do have and about how you can use them. So I went to high school in South Seattle at Franklin High School, and I was on our mock trial team that we were very successful. We won the state championship But I had teammates on that team who were homeless part of the time. I had teammates who were undocumented immigrants, who some of whom later had to leave the country. And they were, there were a lot of brilliant students who, many of them never even went on to college, much less law school or anything else. So I saw that from an early age, that I had a lot to be grateful for, and that people don't always get the opportunities that they deserve. And I've just seen ever since that people who go through life fixated on what they don't have just tend to be miserable. Not the folks you want to be around. And so, I'll never forget, I had a classmate at Harvard when we were graduating. She was telling me about this public interest job that she had been offered that she was very excited about, but she said, it only pays $80,000 a year, and I couldn't do that. And I thought, I had a lot of classmates at UW who would have killed to make anything close to that. And so it's just an example of how your mindset about what you think is possible and what you think you can do and what you need will shape what you decide to pursue and how you feel about life. And my point, just to be clear, my point is not that making money is bad. Making money is great if you can find a job that you're excited about that pays well. Wonderful. I worked at a private law firm in Seattle for 3 years, and I liked it a lot. I learned a lot. I had a lot of great colleagues, and I got to do some great pro bono cases there. But when I got offered this job, I didn't pause for a second in taking it, even though it was certainly a massive pay cut, because I knew I would get to work on behalf of the public. I'd get to do really interesting work, and I'd still make a perfectly fine living. And then, this case that came along, not that I wanted this case to come along, this travel ban case, but when it did come along, it was just an amazing, it was an opportunity to use all the skills I'd learned and worked on over the years, and to be reminded of just how lucky I was to be in a position to do something about it, to have a team at the AG's office who was able to do something about it, to have an attorney general who was brave enough to let us do something about it. And when Professor Clatterbaugh mentioned the ethics bowl here at UW, that was actually during the course of the case, and right after we had won the temporary restraining order from the district court. There was a team, one particular team at that competition where a lot of the students were from refugee families and families from the 7 countries. And just talking to them and hearing the impact that case had on them was one of the most powerful and proud moments of my life, and just an example of how trying to figure out what you can do to help other people will definitely make you happier in life. It was also the first time anyone ever asked to take a selfie with me. Unexpected things. So just the last thing I'll say is just, as you head out into the world, you'll face definitely challenges and struggles, and I know a lot of you have overcome incredible hardships to get here, and you should be incredibly proud of yourselves. But as you struggle with those things and go through them, try to remain focused on what you have to be thankful for, the opportunities you've been given. You all graduating from this program here at UW, you have incredible skills and talents. You're clearly very smart, you're clearly very hardworking. You will have great opportunities. Take advantage of them and think about how you can use them to help other people, and you will never regret the decisions that you make. So with that, thank you all very much, and I'm really honored by the award, and congratulations to all of you graduates.